Okay, welcome back to my little side project, the F16 data card generator for DCS World. Sitting here on the color page, this is all configurable. You can put your own branding on here. But today I just wanted to have a look at the works complete now on the TOLD and fuel planner, so takeoff and landing data and fuel planner. So we'll have a look at where we're at. On the dashboard here, sort of order of operations runs downwards, working out how much fuel you need, loading the aircraft, taking all that data, feeding it in through the takeoff data calculator with the environmentals in here, and it will generate all the information we need to fly. A lot of it is auto exported to our data card, except for the route itself, where we'll send that across with this export route to data card button. The first thing is to get a route. At the moment, I've just got the Iraq theatre when I was running a test in here, so I've only got the one route there. So is to come up and import a route database. Now you only do this once for each theatre when you start using it, and when you put another theatre in, it overwrites the previous one, and you'll use the card while you're in that theatre. So it's a pretty quick process. Press the button, it'll pop up, pre-populates Nevada, but you can select any of the maps in here. I still have to do South Atlantic. I haven't got around to doing that yet, but then we'll have them all complete. You hit OK. It'll bring up a dialog which takes us to our save games, DCS, config, route tools presets, and it'll pick any of the route tool presets you have. So we're going Nevada. And when I click OK, there we are, import complete 78 waypoint rows written. So the waypoint rows are now imported into our database. They sit in the back end of this spreadsheet in a hidden sheet. There's a whole bunch of information in there, and then using some code, I've managed to align that with WGS84 and a UTM system that lines up with DCS, and also in the real world, if you drop those points on Google Earth, they'll be pretty much spot on. It's about within inside a meter accuracy. If we have a look now, when I drop this down, it's brought in my route database. So these are from your route tool presets. So when you're in a multiplayer server, which is what I envisage you use this data card, it's a bit hardcore for the average dude who's just going to fly a single player mission. But if we're flying multiplayer, these are the stereo routes in and out of Vegas, or in and out of Nellis. So we're just going on a quite short hop to one of the southern ranges. I'll pick LSV 217. When I put that in, you see the distance comes in, it's 97 miles. That's out and back, so it's a pretty short little flight. Once we've done that and our route's in, we can drop down one of these profiles. So really I'm probably going to go out at 15,000 at 400 knots, and that'll calculate the fuel, which includes our climb fuel and descent fuel back into Nellis. If we know we're going to be operating down at low level for any portion of that, we can add a low segment in here and pick a speed. It probably will be quite low down there around the range if we go down doing some air to ground stuff. So I'm going to put a 530 knot low level segment. We'll probably be down there for about 25 miles of that. Put that in, and that adds another 750 pounds to our bucket. These low level segments also include a climb back to altitude in your cruise segment as well. And we can add loiter time in here at different holding and loiter areas. So I'm going to put 10,000 feet in there. Let us hold in the range area for 30 minutes. There's another time, 126 pounds. And then we can pick our reserves, whether you want a standard reserve. Well, the weather's fine. In Nellis, I'll hit standard reserve, and it defaults to the 1320, being 30 minutes at the holding rate. And it ignores this distance here. This distance is only if we want to put an alternate in by changing this distance, if it's a long way away. 150 miles, you'll see it'll kick up a fair bit of reserve fuel. So we'll go back to standard reserve. All right, now we've got our fuel loaded, what we need in there. All the while it's been changing our weights here. We go into the aircraft loading. You can change the internal tank, but we're going to go with external tanks, so I'll leave the internal full. If you don't know what load, and you're not using one of these standard configurations, which I have a big list that I use, you can just select your tanks, whether you've got a centerline tank on or not, or none. So we're going to use standard configuration for centerline and wing tanks, and I'll pick that up in this standard load here. So I'm going to pick an air to ground load down here, which is some low level, so 2 AIM-120 Charlies, 2 X-rays, and 4 Mark 82 Snake Eyes wing tanks, and the advanced targeting pod. So I select that, jumps the weight up a fair bit, and you can see that our ramp fuel's also changed to 12,195, and then we have this minimum set, which is a calculation off our fuel planner here that tells me what the minimum fuel to go and fly that route and get back here with our reserves is. Once that's all done, we can go and enter the ATIS information or the METAR information that we know to get some pre-calculated takeoff data. The weight's already fed in there at 37,097, being a takeoff weight rather than a ramp weight. So we can go set an 8-degree pitch on the takeoff. Temperature at the moment, analysis just hit 33, and it's 3005 at the moment. There's about 4 knots of tailwind, so I'll put a -5 in for 03 departure. This is all standard. The runway coefficient is dry and good, and we've got a slight upslope on runway 03. So it's with mill thrust, it's given us a refusal speed of 158, which is below our 172 rotate. We'll get airborne at 196, and there's our runway surplus, 924. That's what's throwing up the really slow refusal speed because of the acceleration with that air to ground stores on. So in this case, I'm going to select AB because otherwise I've got about 20 knots of no man's land where I'm not going to get airborne and I'm going to run off the end of the runway. So I'll hit AB and we'll fix that up. We've now got refusal beyond rotate. So if we start rotating, something goes wrong, we can still got the option to stop because we've got this extra surplus now. All right, so that's all done. That's auto-calculated at approach speed, indicative of a landing coming back. The landing's based on burning all your fuel except for your reserve fuel, and it's also based on bringing home about 40% of your stores weight, which is empty tanks and potentially some air-to-air ordnance. So it's telling us it's a 169 approach speed and landing speed of 149. It also pumps out an emergency land, which is basically if you did an immediate return for some reason and came back in, you're going to come in at 171. That's for a landing speed. Now that's all done. If we hit export route to data card, it's gone, and we jump back to our data card. You can see that standard route now, LSV 217 has been populated up here. I'll start working through putting what I need in here for my mission. And we have the waypoints auto-populated with their altitudes. The takeoff data auto-populated. Our ramp fuel minimum set. Joker and bingo based on the return flight fuel being half your flight fuel to come back, and with the reserves intact, and your Joker's at 10% additive on top of that. We can put in other package information that we need in here on page 1, and then we've got page 2, which is just the facility to add and use all these drag and drop items, which is I'll do in another video. But there we go. There's the told, and fuel planner complete. It's been a bit of work, but it's good to have it done. Anyway, thanks for watching.